thank you so much for coming out this Sunday afternoon. My name is Helen Vonderheide, and I was an advanced certified teacher, and now I'm an elite certified teacher. So I just recently, I'm still in the certification and becoming certified so that I can teach and share the 4th Practitioner certification. So let's see. Where should we start? Okay, I want to share a little bit about myself, and I actually want to hear about you guys, and I want to get to know you guys. So the name of this free class is Healing Ancestral Patterns from an Akashic Record Perspective. And if you aren't familiar with the Akashic Records, we're actually going to start there so that you guys have a little idea of what the Akashic Records are. So the Akashic Records come from a Sanskrit word, Akasha, which means primary substance, that out of which all things are formed. So Akasha is simply an energy field that corresponds to the earth plane. So all physical things, all earthly expression is basically from this primary substance, from this field. And we work in the Akasha all the time. We're creators, we're manifestors. So we don't actually need to do anything but simply just be. So what makes working in the Akashic Records, I think, a little bit more adventurous is when we start to access them in a very conscious, deliberate, and responsible way. So previous to us being able to access the records consciously, I'm totally blanking on his name in this moment. Thank you. Edgar Casey. I was thinking Irvin Laszlo. So Edgar Casey was the first person that started accessing the Akashic realm, and he was doing that unconsciously. He was in a trance. So he didn't really know how to get there. He didn't know what he was saying, what he was doing, and he had people that were transcribing the information that he was getting from the records. And now in the 21st century, the Akashic Records are being made available in a very conscious, again, deliberate and responsible way. So the way that I access the records is through a sacred prayer, a pathway prayer process. I'm able to, when we access the Akashic Records, which is a vibrational record of a soul and its journey, so that's what the records are, vibrational record of a soul and its journey, and I use this, so separate of this pathway that I use, I had mentioned we're always working in the records whether we realize it or not. It's a source field. But when I use this pathway, what happens is it creates almost this channel where it's almost like it blocks, but I don't know how to explain it. It's an energetic like way or column of light where we get to commune directly with masters, teachers, and loved ones, which are the 3 groups of energy that we communicate when we're in the Akashic Records. So we have this like channel. It's like we tune into the channel. So we have this channel, and so it separates everything else so that we can receive exactly what we need to receive from the masters, teachers, and loved ones. So that's what makes it really fun, and it's quite an adventure to work in the Akashic Records that way. So, but today's topic is specifically ancestral patterns from an Akashic Record perspective. So I want to take this in a few parts. First, I want to open this up to the group, and I would love to know your name and where you're from, but not actually where you're from, like Los Angeles or like from Chicago, because I'm from Chicago. I want to know where you're from, specifically your ancestral roots. So for me, my father is German, Irish, Swedish, Dutch, and my mother is Polish, Russian, and Czechoslovakian. So that's what I want to know about where you guys are from. And then we'll get into the fun stuff. So would it be okay if I start up here in the front row? So just your name and where you're from.
My name is Mark. Chifarelli. My mother's family is from Russia, and both sides. My father is Irish, and there's always a touch of German and Scotch.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
My name is Sophia, and my family is from Chile, and also Spanish roots, I guess. And I have my grandmother's has Swiss roots.
All right.
My Russians are Jewish.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
That's like a big deal.
My name is Sergio, and my parents' roots are Spanish, Italian, German on one side, and French, German, Russian, and Scottish on the other side.
All right. Thank you.
I'm
Hi.
Emily, and my mom is from Jamaica, and my dad is from, my dad's from the South. He's African American, but they both had the same ancestry related to West Africa, which is in Benin, Togo, Ghana, Mali, and Cameroon, and then both of them also have Scottish, English, Irish.
All right. Oh my God, this is so great. Thank you. So we'll start in the front, and then we'll work our way through the back.
Hi, my name's Marina, like Marina Del Rey. So you'll remember. I just looked at my 23andMe yesterday. I was sharing with a friend. So I'm about 72% Southeast Asian, and the whole Southeast Asian, which is like Philippines, covers Native American, and then I have like Chinese and Indonesian, but that's going further back. And then I'm more than a quarter German with French and some other European countries like English and Ireland, all that good stuff in there. So I got everything that spans the world except for the African continent.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, my name is Debbie, and dad's side 100% Russian, mom's side Eastern European mud.
Perfect.
Tina, my mom's side is German, and her last name is Lindfors, so I'm thinking it's either Swedish or maybe a little bit Finnish. And then my dad's side is Irish, but I wonder if he had a little bit of Spanish in him because he would tan really fast. It's not common for them, but it's just known as Irish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My name is Kathy. Both my parents are from Mexico, so I'd say like Spanish, European, and indigenous.
All right.
My name is Maurice.
Hi.
I am Italian on my mother's side, Northern Italian, and Polish, Bohemian, and German Frenchish on my dad's side.
All right. Thank you.
I need to spell my name. It's Derya, Daria. I'm from Turkey.
100%. Easy. A purebred.
I'm sure there's more, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just like we're so mixed.
Yeah.
Turkey.
I love it. Great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathleen, and on my mother's side is English, Scottish, African American, and then on my father's side is Irish, and I think a little Native American, I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's the mix.
Perfect. And then last but not least.
Hey everybody, my name is Marvin, and my ancestry is Nicaraguan, and Spanish, Irish, and Mexican.
All right. Oh my God, this is so great. So the reason, a couple reasons why we open up with this is because first of all, some people in this room are your ancestors, and the Akashic records span throughout all life existence. So what I always love about teaching is how classes come together. We're usually a soul group, and we're usually linked. So whenever I'm doing certifications, my master's teachers and loved ones partner up people to work together because they're linked. And then also what I discovered in some of the advanced work is we are our own ancestors. So it's like we are the convergence point of all of our ancestral line. So I want to break this down a little bit. I want to talk about patterns, first of all. So patterns are repeated experiences. While the people, places, and circumstances change, the theme remains the same. So for example, well, actually, let me start this place. So the Akashic records are composed of two parts. The first part is the soul blueprint. Those are the lessons and the themes that you are here to learn in this incarnation. So lesson could be self-worth. I'm going to use that as an example. So it doesn't matter how many relationship experiences or opportunities I have, if I am not getting the true value of my worth, I'm going to keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over. So those are patterns. Now, ancestors, anyone related to you on a soul level, biological or not. Soul groups are those with whom you share some personal, universal, soul level goals. You choose a group to promote your own soul level awareness. Everyone is in this together. The group stays together until all harmonize with one another. And who you are, as I mentioned, is the convergence point of all your relations, ancestral lines throughout your soul's existence. So I want to share an example of an ancestral pattern that I experienced, and then I used my Akashic records to resolve. So I started off professionally as a producer working in the film industry, and I was having a very challenging time making money from my profession. And after several years of never really getting to a position where I felt like I could support myself financially through my art, I started to explore this in my records. And what I discovered was this ancestral pattern where art was looked at as a hobby and not a profession. That in order for me to be successful and to make money in a professional and sustainable way, I had to have some kind of a trade. I had to be like a tradeswoman. And producing for me was like, no, that's my passion, that's my dream, like this is what I'm here to do. But I had all of this ancestral experience that was like, no, that isn't how we make money. And back then, no, that's not really how we made money. Back then, we really did have to have a trade. But we've evolved so much. So what's great about working in the records is you start to become aware of the root cause and why this pattern is existing in the first place. So when I started to see like how it was linked, one of my lessons, life lessons, was worth, self-worth. And also having an authority over what I wanted to do, not what someone else was telling me I was or what I had to do. Because I'm sure a lot of people have had experiences where your parents are like, no, you can't be a ballerina, you need to become a doctor, or you can't be a painter, you'll never make money, you need to be a school teacher, which is actually really fun. But so we have all of these projections of who our ancestors and people in our life think or feel we should be, and we sort of lose ourselves in the process. The records provide a resource for us to reconnect with our soul's truth, our soul's purposes, and also the destiny. Like, what are, why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing? Like, we want to get to where we want to be doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we want to get there. So we are going to do a little exercise. We're going to do a little meditation, and I'm going to guide you guys through this. I'm going to prompt you with some questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to identify maybe a limiting pattern or a pattern, let's just say, a pattern that we're experiencing. Maybe we already know what we want to bring into this. I would say hold on to that. Let's be in the moment with the meditation and see what's presented to you. I always love the organic, whatever comes up into our awareness. And then I'm going to guide you guys through some questions, and it's not going to be a long exercise, but I'm going to guide you through some questions so that we can really get to the heart of the issue. For the exercise, if anyone feels like they wanted to journal, I have a little notepad, and then I can just rip out sheets of paper. So if anybody wants paper to journal, just let me know. In fact, you know what? I'll leave it on this chair. And if someone needs paper, you can just grab a sheet from the notebook. And then if you just want to be in the moment with it and then listen, you can do that too. All right. So, any questions before we start? Any questions about anything at all? All right. So then why don't you go ahead and close your eyes. And just open your awareness. And in the center of your body, I want you to envision a sphere of light and energy. So in the center of your body, just envisioning a sphere of light and energy. And it's a sphere of energy that is not stationary, so it actually moves. And it's also connected to the cosmos. But I want us to feel grounded, so I want you to envision a cord or a column of energy that you can, through your awareness, anchor into the earth below your feet. So just creating a little anchor, grounding it in, keeping those human feet on the ground, and then allow that sphere of energy and light to create a column through your chest, up through your head, and into the ethers. And we're going to use this column of energy and light to allow this Akashic energy and information to move through us and bring to our awareness whatever we need to know at this time. I want to encourage you to stay very present with your breath. Your breath helps facilitate the flow of this energy. So you always want to allow it to move through you. So with the help of your closest beings of light and guidance, bring to your awareness a pattern that may exist in your life that's creating a problem. So just bring to your awareness a pattern in your life that's creating some friction. Or a disturbance in your life. And I'm going to give us a few breaths so that we can really identify what that pattern is and just be with it for a moment. So next, we want to find out, what is this pattern teaching us? So just simply ask, what are you teaching me? What are you teaching me? How are you teaching me? So this pattern is our teacher. It is a beloved, cherished teacher. What is the life lesson that I'm learning through this pattern? Maybe ask this pattern, how are you teaching me? Are you teaching me this through people in my life? Through professional opportunities? What are those experiences that I'm learning this life lesson through? I want you to acquire all the necessary information that you need as the causes and conditions of this pattern so that we can take this and move into the soul level truth. So any more information, details, insights that are important to know, now is the time. All right, so now I want you to just start to get a sense, just a feeling of your masters, teachers, and loved ones. Just starting to open up to their presence. Your masters have known you since the inception of your soul. They were created to oversee who you become in the human experience. And they've never been incarnate into physical bodies. Your teachers are lesson specific, so those are the lessons and themes that you are learning in this lifetime. So your teachers are the ones that have been supporting you in identifying this pattern and the life lessons or themes. And loved ones are those you've known that have passed away. So I just want you to get a sense of their presence. You can ask your masters, teachers, and loved ones, or any other guides, angels, or beings of light, what is the soul level truth of this pattern that I have? What is the soul level truth of this pattern that I have? We also want to find out what is the essential goodness. So the essential goodness is the light manifested through human beings. So what is the essential goodness of this pattern? Whatever comes to you intuitively, just allow yourself to trust it. So we'll just take another moment. Allowing that light to go where it needs to go in regards to this pattern and through our ancestral line. I want you to slowly bring your awareness back into your body. And into this space. And then when you're ready, you guys can open up your eyes. And what we'll do is we'll take a minute for anybody that does want to write anything down after the exercise. And if anyone needs to take a little restroom break, there's a restroom in the back. So we'll just take a minute and then we're going to come back and regroup. What's your name, new friend? What's your name?
Art.
Art, nice to meet you. Where are you from? What's your ancestral line?
Armenia. Central American Indian. Spaniard.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to check in and I want to see how you guys are feeling. Is there anyone that would be open and willing to share their experience? Or if you guys have questions, well, actually, let's start with experiences. And if there's questions, you guys can ask questions as well. I think that we're using this microphone for shares, any shares or questions. So would anybody be open and willing to share? Don't be shy. Yes?
Brave.
Okay, come up to the front.
Oh, can I just sit here?
Yeah.
Everybody can hear me, right? Yeah. I had a little hard time kind of settling in and kind of getting the poem, and I kept hearing things and kept pulling me out of it. But what I kept feeling a lot of different emotions, and it was like things when you're asking the various questions, and it's like, what came up was kind of this repeating pattern of feeling that, on one hand, not enough, that there was always something more I had to do to feel safe, and that I was not safe being just exactly who I was, and then a lot of layers of accommodating and fitting in so that I could blend in with the herd and not stand out. And so it was kind of like that was the repeating pattern, which to some degree I've experienced, obviously in this lifetime, of always being a little different and recognizing like, oh, not everybody can hear animals talk. When I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, oh, wait, people don't, it was that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that was the feeling that there was always something else I had to do to be able to blend.
Yeah. And then did anything come for you for the soul level truth?
The soul level truth that came, well, again, I was kept getting pulled out. So the soul level truth that came, well, clearly one of the things that came through is that you are safe and that there is enough, always. You are completely, exactly enough of everything. That there's no need to change or to morph into these other things. That there wasn't a lot of, it was like I heard it, but I was like, I don't know. I don't believe in it. But a little bit, I believe in a little bit. I've been doing this for a long time, so.
Yeah.
So that was what came through as soul truth. And the benefit, like I think there was a question about what the good thing, something about the benefit of this whole, with these lessons, was the benefit of, that through this course is that coming in contact with so many different people has been a benefit to both me and to others. Through the healing work that I do. And that's the benefit, even though that constant desire to do more, learn more, be a better practitioner, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's served in some ways, but that was pretty much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's such a common one. Not enough. That's personally something for me, and I don't know if anyone else experiences that, but that is a big one. Thank you. Marcia?
I have a pattern of feeling that my granddaughter is judging me and doesn't want to be with me, and I did something wrong. And yesterday it happened. I took her to a movie, and because I did this process, it all came clear. And she's 8, and the movie was probably appropriate for a 9-year-old. And I felt horrible because she's seeing things I would never want her to see. It was about dogs. It's a dog's journey, which is a kid movie. The first thing that happens is the dog dies. And the second thing is the little girl's mother is drinking. And I'm going, Louise, you want to go home? You want to go home? And she goes, no. So we get home after this whole thing. And when she said goodbye to me, I wanted her to kiss me, but she wasn't going to. It has nothing to do with the movie. A lot of times she doesn't want her parents to see her affection to me, I think. But I went down the tubes. So what I saw, the pattern, it's not just with her, is a total rejection of my own experience, of each particle of the experience. So the experience of someone not being as warm as you think they should be, and you then think you should die. It's really catastrophic. So when I looked at it, the catastrophe was not accepting the different experiences that I was having. And then I saw the movie with all these different experiences that I'm screaming, you want to go home, you want to go home? And she telling her mother the whole movie. It was fine. And I'm crying through the whole movie. I didn't cry. So I saw that it's fine, that our experiences are part of life. And as I went in, I saw that what witches did, women, was acknowledge exactly and say what these experiences are. Some are really good, some are labeled bad, but they are really, and that's where witches lived, in that truth.
Mm-hmm.
And we were destroyed for it. So there is a catastrophic, you're going to die. So it was just a soul thing that turned, that the experiences we have are exactly like the Sistine Chapel. Actually, I was thinking of the stained glass at Notre Dame. All those little colors are so holy, and every moment is holy. Whether it's, she doesn't love me, whatever it is, it's holy. And that was the soul thing. And that it was to be turned into stained glass in whatever form. Just that.
Thank you, Marcia. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that would be open to sharing? I think we have maybe enough time for one more share. Or if there's any questions. Yes.
So I always feel like when I get to the healing part, with the anti-lines, like it wasn't enough, and I guess it's because I'm an energy healer, and I'm used to like moving things out and getting in there, you know. But when I'm like, okay, the soul level truth, and you said something like, bring the light in to the. So I saw the light coming in to like all the women back in my life. But I was like, I always feel like, is that enough? Like, how do I know if it's healed? I always have that sensation. I don't know.
So would you be open to sharing with us the pattern and the soul level truth?
Yeah. So for it was just women in my, like my mom, my grandma, on her side of the family that didn't feel appreciated. But it's something that hasn't happened to me yet. But I think it was bound to happen like in the future. That's what they were showing me. So I was healing it before it even happened. And when I got to the soul level truth, they just showed me that it was good for them to. I was like empowering them as I was healing. But still, I always, you know, have that thing that I'm like kind of want to see everything cold and light up. Or
So the really interesting thing, which is kind of it is this like untangible way of knowing if it's something that works or doesn't, but the sequence of how energy healing works in the records is that it's energy first and then information second. So you allowed yourself to embody that light and energy, and it's going to manifest in some physical form, in some form. And what I've personally discovered is I allow it to manifest however it's supposed to manifest, and then I'm able to see if that's something that is tangible that happened or not. Like, did I really heal that? I won't know until I actually see it. But I also now, over the last almost 5 years of working in the records, have seen this work actually manifest itself. So, you know, my level of self-doubt is like, it's so low. Yeah, and so that's another really important piece, is to have this trust. But how can we have trust if that thing hasn't become tangible or not? So it's a really interesting balance. But what I like is I let it go, and then I let it show up in my life however it's supposed to show up. So the other important thing is the healing is in the awareness. It's in your awareness. So when we work in the records, we're becoming more self-aware. And through our self-awareness, we're becoming empowered. When we're empowered, we act from a place that usually tends to not be fear-driven or fear-based. It's like we're like in that control and in that power. So when you have a situation or something that presents itself, the chances of you not feeling that way are probably greater because you have now come into the awareness of what this pattern is and that it has the potential to manifest itself in a future experience that can just simply be teaching you to know your truth, to know what's true at a soul level.
And I have seen like the records are always right, so I guess I just have to trust.
Yeah. Yeah, we also just yes, exactly. We have to let it happen and come out.
Yeah. You get to control.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean by manifest.
So it works two ways. So when we want to manifest something, it's usually a desire or a goal that's going to make us feel fulfilled in some way. So, for example, her experiences, it was, can you just remind me again? It was the pattern was not being appreciated?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, as Sophia is just like, living life, embarking on life, she will definitely, I'm sure, manifest some experience.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
that's really just bringing to her awareness the truth, and so that she doesn't get in the non-truth of people not accepting her.
So it'll unfold with clarity.
Yes.
And she will be more conscious.
Yes.
More conscious.
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you for asking, and then also sharing your experience. You wanted to share?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I'll do the mic.
Oh, thank you.
Hello? Is this going to record me? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so actually it's a microphone that records. It doesn't really amplify, but
Awesome.
we want your voice.
Awesome. Okay. Hey, everybody. My name's Marvin. So during the experience, I'll go through my experience and then I'll go through what question I have.
Okay.
So the pattern that I recognized was a familial pattern to make people feel whole for their ambition, for their own life and for the lives of their children is to make them feel whole and complete and without fear that they haven't done enough. And so I have been on a path for a while to go ahead and make myself whole. And I feel like I've gone pretty far. Like I used to have really bad depression, have no depression. I, don't feel like a lack of confidence. A bunch of problems that I had, I just don't really have anymore. And and then when I asked, it's just like, so what's the issue with that pattern? And it's just like, oh, you've healed yourself a lot and you found that it's not enough. And so now that you have your solution, now you see that part of it is giving. And so now that you know that like what peace brings, it brings like an attitude to share. And so that was like my soul level solution. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. And then my question was, in that space, so like I have the ability, right, to like hear my own voice within my thoughts, right? There's no noise being made, right, in my head, but I still hear my own voice. And I find it so hard to go ahead to like hear anything else. Mm-hmm. Like even like an encoded message or even see a vision or something like that. And I was just wondering, do you have any tips to go ahead and open up that space to hear other things or feel other things or see other things?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So in this teacher training that I'm in with Linda Howe, so Linda Howe is my teacher, and she shared something in one of our recent classes that was so beautiful. She said that our emotions are the first feeling or experience that we have when we're connecting with our soul, and then, of course, when we are connecting with this higher guidance and support. And I'm going to take that to the next level. So the way that we process consciousness is through our senses. Our soul processes consciousness through knowing. That's like our intuition. It's like we know. Our emotions process consciousness through our feelings. Our body processes consciousness through our senses, like any sensations. Our mind, the mental processor, processes consciousness through our thoughts. And then our ego processes consciousness through our beliefs. So we have these different ways that we experience consciousness, right? Like they all have their own processing system. So when we go into the Akasha and Akashic records, we are always becoming aware of our soul level truth. It's the knowing, right? Like very similar to the intuition. It's amplified in the records. So when I work in my records, I'm clairaudient. I can hear my masters, teachers, and loved ones speak. The way that I hear them speak is through my inner voice. And I always ask, how am I to discern the difference between my voice and yours? And the way that they explain it to me is like, they're light. They are light. They are like not in bodies. So they have to establish this channel for us to communicate back and forth this light consciousness and information. So we're just constantly, sending these like signals back and forth. So that's the way I receive the records as I hear. And it's like in this way. So when I'm teaching students who don't immediately have that ability to like discern or hear, I ask them to tune into the feeling. Tune into the feeling. So when we're trying to like go inward and connect, how does it feel? Does it make me feel good? Does it make me feel bad? This guidance that I'm receiving. I mean, the guidance that you received, like, this is pretty incredible. Like, you shared that and I was like, that makes me feel good. I know what's going on now. So I don't know how it made you feel. I'm sure it made you feel good because you're smiling a little bit, and so you want to take that experience and you want to trust it and you want to build on it and you have to keep practicing. So don't force yourself to see if that's not how you're going to see. Actually, in the beginning certification, one of the very first questions I ask when we open up our records is, what is the best way I'm going to receive the energy of the records at this point in time, knowing tomorrow is going to be different, 6 months from now is going to be different. So it's just, what is the best way I'm to receive the energy of the records at this point in time, right now? So, just so happens that the best, they're really teaching you a lesson, aren't they? A good lesson to just trust however you're receiving it. And then, of course, we trust how we're receiving it, and then it expands. Does that answer help?
Yeah, it does. It helps.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, good. All right. Well, it's 1:27, so we're just getting to the close of the class. Are there any other questions, or is there anything else that anybody would like to share? Art.
Can I just repeat what you just said? So
Yes.
You said the ego processes awareness or conscious. The ego processes awareness through.
The ego processes consciousness through beliefs.
So should we let go of beliefs when they say you should let go of your ego?
Say it again.
Should we start to let go of our beliefs when they say you
You
should
know-
kind of like let go of ego? And
The ego is it's actually a really helpful device. But what I like to come back to is, what's the soul level truth? So, okay, my ego believes this, but like, what does my soul believe? I always like to get back to that place. I don't say that my ego is wrong or, whatever, it's got problems. I recognize it.
Yeah.
And then I just really like to come back again to the soul. What do I know? Because the soul's the wisdom. And then that really just helps me. It kind of helps me direct myself on my path, in partnership with my ego.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
Yes, when you said about manifesting.
Yes.
And before the process that we did, I went to that movie, which I thought was a horrible mistake, and here the movie was perfect
Yeah.
for the whole picture.
Yes.
All the dogs were reincarnated and had these different lives, and everything in their life is a manifestation of the idea that our experiences are exactly right for us to look at
Yeah.
and take.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see that movie. Dogs
I
that
don't
reincarnate?
know.
Yes.
Don't take an 8-year-old. It's really for a 9-year-old.
Oh, thank you, Marcia. So the purpose of this class is, of course, to give you this experience of kind of working through these patterns, seeing how they're linked, becoming aware of that soul level truth, because then in a field where we actually know what's true about ourselves, we have less obstructions towards the things that we want to manifest. So there's a class that I developed as a follow-up to this class, which is an introduction to manifesting and the Akashic records. And it's going to be here at Liberate. Sorry, I'm just trying to look at my notes. Okay. Wednesday, June 12th, from 7 to 9 p.m., we're going to have this introduction to manifestation and the Akashic records. And we're going to kind of like take these like little points that we've touched today, and we're going to delve into them a little bit deeper. And then further, I'm teaching a beginning certification, how to read the Akashic records for yourself and others at Liberate Emporium, which is the original Liberate store. That's June 14th, 15th, and 16th. And then I'm also teaching a beginning certification here at Liberate Hollywood, August 24th and 25th. And if you're really being called to manifest, Linda Howe is going to be in Los Angeles September 13th, 14th, and 15th. And she's actually going to be teaching and certifying the manifesting practitioners, which is the pinnacle of this Akashic Records work. That's all we want to really do here is manifest our destiny. So, thank you so much for joining. Yes, you're welcome. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can